Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and another team list Tuesday. So we're looking at the round 6 team list this week. And after a big week of injuries, it's going to be a fun one, especially for those of you who have Stags and Capewell. So it's going to be a lot of fun trying to maneuver your squad around to replace those guys, especially when I know myself have Drinkwater who's stinking it up and we need to get rid of him, which we'll have to keep him for now. But trying to maneuver some wing fullbacks and centres around. And possibly some halves to get your team together. So good luck with that, guys. And we'll go through the team now. And one of those replacements I'm seeing people bring in for these kind of guys manoeuvring their wing fullbacks up to centre is Ponga. So we'll start with Ponga. It looks like his floor is going to be sort of 50 plus. He looks electric. He was able to get 53 without doing too much against the Storm on the weekend. So that's kind of going to be the level that we're going to be seeing from him. And then the other guy's going to be Tedesco. So the two wing fullbacks a lot of people will be targeting this week. Both seem to be benefiting a lot from the new rules and are in good teams as well, which you could see from Roosters against the Dogs yesterday. So there are a couple of guys that we'll be talking about. But with the Knights, so Ponga is a great option, guys, if you want to bring him in and shore up that position, which is, been a bit testing with blokes like Pappenhausen as well, not scoring too well. So if you want to get a gun in, he's going to be a great option. Best is showing that he's going to be a keeper in the wing fullback centre. So there's one other spot taken. And moving down, we got McCulloch, which was my buy of the week last week, and he lived up to that, playing the full 80, scoring 68, which was perfect. And moving on to Broncos side, we've got their Corey Pakes. Looks like he'll get another week of scoring what he did last week. So getting that sort of 60-odd minutes and the scores that he got there. So you'll at least get another week out of him before Isaac Luke comes in. That's what the team lists say. Who knows what will happen on game day. So keep an eye out for that one. But hopefully a few more price rises for those guys that have him. The other one to talk about is TPJ's come back. He'll be starting in the number 12 jersey and offhand Gowie back to the bench. So Bentia has still kept his spot there, but nothing really else to talk about with the Broncos except for Stags being out like I spoke about. So with him, it's looking to be sort of with the grade 2 hamstring tear, looking to be sort of 4 to 6 week injury. So not exactly what we needed at training, but especially after he had a good return game back last week. So yeah, that's fantasy. All right, moving on. So looking at the Rabbitohs, the Trells had a great couple of bounce-back games, especially since this break. It looks like he's got his fitness back up a bit. He's learning how to play the fullback position again to the best of his ability. He just brings something different to the table. You see he stood Jaira up pretty easily that last little in that last play of the game the other day. But getting better each week and really a big factor in that backline sweep on either side of the pitch. So for someone who's a wing fullback centre, he could be a straight swap for the Stags and Capewell, these kind of guys. So have a think about him and bring him in, guys, if you're interested in that. The fullbacks are doing really well, especially in the good teams, which Rabbitohs will be a good team this year. So think about grabbing him in your team, guys. And then that'll be it for the Rabbitohs. But on the Warriors side there, biggest one is going to be just that the boys are still playing. Tynwell Brown and Elise Katoa. Other than that, the team has hardly changed. So moving on to the next game, the Panthers. So a few things to talk about there. One with Cable being out, we've got Liam Martin coming to the team. Unfortunately, he's at a bit of a price point that he's not going to make any money, sort of average at that 40 average. So he's scored well in the past, but not well enough to be a keeper. So he's not someone that you should bring into your team. And nothing really to report on the Storm side except for Pappenhausen still just struggling to hit really big totals, averaging about 40. So I know some people are trying to get rid of him, but there's a lot of other issues this week, unfortunately. Munster had an okay game by his standards, so that'll sort of be his floor. But that'll be a really good game to watch, that one, the Panthers. And unfortunately, a bit of a soft game for Cleary's scores, but he actually had a good footy game. And same for Crichton, just struggling to score well. So it'll be interesting to see how well they'll go over the next few weeks. Moving on to the Titans, big one for them is Corey Thompson has moved up to Gold Coast, and he's getting the starting 1 jersey. So I'd say in this team he's going to be in the play a lot, making a lot of meters, out of trouble, and scoring very similar to what he'd do at the Tigers. I just think he'd be more of a focal point at Titans. So I think he'll be able to score well. He might have a slight increase in missed tackles, being in a team that's not very good, but against the Dragons, I wouldn't expect him to go too poorly this week. He might actually score well. So someone to think about, but he's at a very similar price point to Latrell, for example, and Adam Dewey, these kind of guys. So probably not one you want to think about at this stage in a bad team. And moving to the Dragons, Adam Clune looks like he's going to average in the 30s. So at his price point now, he's gained a little bit. Might not be worth it. But if you are needing a half, then at a cheap price, then he could play a role. I think he'll play for an extended period of time. So something to think about there. And Cam McInnes is the gun that he is. So nothing more else to say there. Like with Hunt coming off the bench, he's just moving into lock position and playing that role for the rest of the game. So, and that worked for him on the weekend. So you can see that happening for the next little period. That's for sure. And for Mayano, I know a lot of people have traded him out, brought him back in. He didn't actually score very well on the weekend. They didn't go to his side very much. So it'd be a hold while he's in there, but I wouldn't expect him to make a lot of money, unfortunately. And moving on to our next game, we got the Tigers-Cowboys. So Tigers, as I spoke about Adam Dewey, he got 280 metres on the weekend with not many tackle breaks or anything like that. So he looks like he's getting really involved now. So I rate him as a player, and that's translating fairly well to fantasy. But again, he's in that 500k bracket now, similar to what Latrell is. So might be a factor this week of picking one or the other. Some people might have to go both, but again, it's a player that hasn't been proven before. When we're seeing guys like Drinkwater and that who we've been bringing into our teams, thinking they'll do well, it's very easily for them just to not have a bunch of bad games and lose all their chance of making money, and any chance of becoming a keeper. And Dewey's every chance of doing that. He's having a great start to his fullback career, but he could have a few bad games being such a young player. So just have a think about that when you're trying to move guys to your team. On the other side of there, we got Cowboys. So Hamiso Tabuafido is going to be playing the fullback position this week. It looks like Valentine Holmes will be out for just the week, maybe 2. So what I'm seeing there is he'll play fullback like he did on the weekend. Looked fairly good in that position for such a young teenager. So really happy with how he went, and I can see him scoring in that 30s to 40 at the fullback position. And what you'll see is then he'll move to the number 5 wing position following that, and Connolly, who's debuting this week, will be out of the team. So they've got Ben Hampton in the 14 this week, so looks like he'll be used as a utility rather than on that wing. It looks like Hamiso's made it there on merit, and that's going to be good for his longevity in the team. And I feel like he's someone who he's a live wire who's a good chance of getting a lot of tackle busts even when he's playing on the wing. So might be a good option for a cash out, to be able to bring in a Ponga, Tedesco, these kind of guys. If you're looking to do that, he's a big suggestion for me. Esau Masters had an absolute shocker. And Drinkwater's really struggling, unfortunately. Other news in the Tigers team, Luke Garner's come back into the team this week, and Benji's still on the bench, still on the number 18 jersey. So here's something to think about there. Alex Twal's been huge, averaging in the mid-60s, and Luciano Leilua did have a little ankle sprain on the weekend, and there's a chance that he drops out of this team come game day. So they're giving him every chance they can, but if he does drop out, it should just be a weak injury. So just keep that one in mind there. And Roosters Eels, didn't have much to talk about here. The only thing I was going to say was that Kyle Flanagan Looks like he's going to be he's a great chance of becoming a cut price keeper. With him kicking the goals and Roosters scoring so well most weeks, he should get a lot of points from that. But he actually looks like he's a really good player, and he's getting so much help from how much go forward they're getting. So him as a half in a great team, I think he's going to do really well at a discount price to those like Daly Cherry Evans and Moses, who are doing really well, but are a couple $100K more expensive. So just something to think about there. And just talking about that, Dylan Brown and Mitch Moses are absolutely smashing it for the Eels there. So are both great options. I'd say Moses would be the better option, given he's played a lot more games, a few more seasons than Brown has. But something to think about there. And Angus Crichton's really brought it back. He's playing amazingly well, and should score a few more tries running those lines he's been doing at the moment. And we also got Madison there. And Nathan Brown was huge in his return, so Madison, as I said in one of my other videos, is a keeper in the second row forward and a chance to score tries as well. So his floor would be the low 50s as well to mid 50s. All right, and moving to the Raiders and Eagles. Big one here is that Ma'i Tapau's out this week. Should only be for a week, I'd imagine, with a dislocated finger. And on the Raiders side, Corey Horsburgh was a late out with gastro, and he'll be back playing this week like we thought. Nothing too much to report there. Curtis Sirenan being back as well. So for those that have him, he's back, and he should be scoring well again like he was. And moving on to the last game, with the Bulldogs, they've named pretty much the same team. Tolman's out, but they're going to start with Tumunga this week instead of Suaso Su. Averillo is going to play on the wing, it looks, and Ram Fatala Mariners doing exactly what I thought he would be doing, average mid-40s and playing the 80. So he looks strong in runs, which will, you might be able to score a try here or there to boost up those scores. But if you're looking for that mid-range second row forward in the mid 400s, then he'll be a good option for you. And Toby Rudolph changed to 13 jersey for the game on the weekend, but he's moved back to the interchange, and I think he's going to score a similar amount if he starts or he's on the bench. It doesn't really matter. That sort of mid 30s to 40 there. So yeah, that's going to be all for the teams this week, guys. Let me know what trades you're thinking of making. I'll be making my video on my team over the next day.